According to the White House, tomorrow is deadline day for many of its trading partners to provide their best offer on a new trade deal. Today, the U.S. press secretary did not specifically name Canada, but confirmed the U.S. Trade Representative's office sent letters to trade partners about their demands. U.S. President Donald Trump intends to invoke more economic hardship after signing an executive order this afternoon to double tariffs on steel and aluminum starting tomorrow. Jason Gaidola joins us live with more on the Canada-U.S. relations. Jason, how is Canada responding?
Well, Manisa, we saw yesterday Prime Minister Mark Carney and Canada's premiers met to discuss building a broader national self-sustaining economy. Today, Ottawa went a step further regarding border security, a key demand from Trump.
There's elements that will strengthen the relationship with the United States. There are a number of elements in the bill that have been irritants for the U.S. So we are addressing some of those issues. But it's not exclusively about the United States. It's also about ensuring that our immigration system, for example, the integrity of our immigration system is strengthened.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and his government went a step further to persuade U.S. President Donald Trump that Ottawa is doing enough to stem the flow of drugs and migrants after it introduced a new legislative proposal on border security.
Canadians elected a new government on April the 28th with a mandate to ensure the safety and security of Canadians, including securing our border.
The federal bill is aimed to give authorities sweeping new powers, which includes less barriers for police to search mail, more rules for officials to pause or cancel immigration applications, and expanding the Canadian Coast Guard's role to include security activities. The new pledge builds on earlier measures from Canada, including round-the-clock surveillance using helicopters, drones, and surveillance towers. The security demands have been Trump's gambit while both nations iron out a new trading relationship.
Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%.
One that took another turn last week in Pittsburgh and also today. The U.S. president delivered on his promise and signed the executive order increasing the steel and aluminum tariffs.
And he's delivering on his promises to bolster our steel and aluminum industries in this country and to protect those jobs. If not for this president, that steel plant in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania would have closed. Those jobs would have been lost.
And I'm very, very disappointed. I'm a man of my word. When we agreed, when I went down there with Secretary Lutnick, they pull off the 25% additional tariffs. We take off the surcharge that we put on electricity, and that promise was broken.
Also today, Canadian officials continue to extend an olive branch for better relations. Despite a positive meeting with the U.S. ambassador to Canada, Ontario Premier Doug Ford also says Ottawa must respond.
The 25% tariffs on steel, my recommendation is slap them with a 25% because we can't be kicked around any longer.
Ford, Prime Minister Carney, and Canada's other premiers are fresh off a First Ministers meeting yesterday. Infrastructure projects tied to energy were presented to Carney, but nothing was made public.
Every First Minister in Canada, from Quebec, from the provinces, from the territories, Government of Canada agreed on a plan to build Canada strong, one Canadian economy out of 13. That's what Congress said before.
Despite the Prime Minister's proclamation in the House of Commons today, the White House says all of its trading partners have until tomorrow to present their best offers for a trade framework.
USTR sent this letter to all of our trading partners just to give them a friendly reminder that the deadline is coming up. And they are in talks and they continue to be engaged in those discussions. And this letter was simply to remind these countries that the deadline is approaching and the president expects good deals, and we are on track for that, I will emphasize.
This afternoon, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc met with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick in Washington, D.C. No word yet on the official details of that meeting.